In 1997, the Lord led Sister Joseph Andrew, Sister Mary Samuel, Sister John Dominic, and myself to Ann Arbor, Michigan, to establish a new Dominican foundation. Our mission is to teach, to train minds, and to help souls reach their eternal salvation.
The only way any of us can know why we were born, who we are, and what our destiny is if we understand our Catholic faith.
They know that Christ is ultimately their teacher. He's the center, the focal point of the school. And this is what's attracting the parents that are here. There's a generation where they themselves weren't catechized in the faith.
And hopefully by the time they're in high school and we see them, which we do see them now, we do have high school students, and that we know that they do very well academically. We know that they have a solid foundation in their faith and strong convictions, and are leaders.
We believe Jesus calls us to train teachers, to start foundations wherever He calls us, and to help these foundations establish even more foundations, extending our mission to teach the faith far beyond these monastery walls. This is our hope and our contribution to building and enriching Catholic education everywhere.
Our motto of Dominicans is to contemplate and to give to others the fruits of your contemplation. So our life is built very much on the contemplative spirit. We are contemplative apostles. We don't believe we can be apostles at all if it's not formed in the sanctuary, if it's not formed in the chapel. And our prayer life is primary, it comes first. So very much of our day is spent in contemplation, in the chapel. We have divine office, we have periods of meditation, but what makes us unique also is that we have periods of Eucharistic adoration daily. It's not like any other vocation. I mean, it means you radically leave everything to follow Him. You give up the familiar for the unfamiliar. And that's a wonderful thing. You can only do it for the Lord.
So you might say, well, who would be interested in the community? God chooses whom He wills.
I mean, I think to give your life to God is an emotional thing. But what I mean, when you think about, oh, I've got to leave my family, I've got to leave my environment, I've got to leave everything to follow Him, that's where your emotions have to catch up with your intellect.
A woman who is capable of sacrifice, not in the sense of begrudgingly, but wills to give the total gift of self to God, believes this is her vocation, loves married life and the single life, if those were to be her vocation, but believes God has called her to Himself, that He will espouse her as His bride. And therefore she comes and she gives the total gift of self.
I mean, you lay down your life and say, Lord, it's yours, and you do with it what you want. And it's a great journey of faith. It's wonderful.
The next week I got a phone call from my parish priest, and he said, I think you have a vocation, and if you want, I know you've got plans for college next year, but I'll send you out on a retreat to visit sisters. So that was kind of the beginning. I went on a retreat, and for the first time in my life I saw young sisters who were my age and who were happy and just in love with God and wanted to give their whole lives to Him. And that really made such an impact on me, and for the first time I thought, not only am I supposed to be a sister, but this is something I want to be. I want to have the joy that they had.